Have you ever walked into a room and completely forgotten why you went in there in the first place? It is a frustrating moment that we have all experienced. Or maybe you have been in the middle of a conversation with a neighbor you have known for 20 years, and suddenly their name just vanishes from the tip of your tongue. It feels terrifying, doesn't it? For many of us over 60, these little lapses spark a deep, quiet fear in the back of our minds. We wonder if this is just normal aging, or if it is the first sign of something much darker, like dementia or Alzheimer's. We often accept memory loss as an inevitable part of getting older, like gray hair or wrinkles. But what if I told you that shrinking brain power isn't entirely about how many birthdays you have celebrated? What if the culprit is hiding in your pantry right now, disguised as a harmless staple you have been eating your entire life? There is a specific category of food, a white food, that scientists and leading experts like Dr. William Li have identified as a major accelerator of brain atrophy. It shrinks your hippocampus, the memory center of your brain, faster than time itself. But here is the good news. If you can identify this enemy and make a simple swap, you can actually halt that shrinkage and even spark new growth in your brain cells. You might be thinking that at 60, 70, or 80, the damage is already done and that it is too late to change the trajectory of your cognitive health. I want you to know right now that that is simply not true. Your brain is incredibly resilient, and neuroplasticity, the ability of the brain to rewire and heal itself, doesn't stop just because you qualify for a senior discount. The choices you make at the grocery store today can literally determine whether you keep your sharp wit and your precious memories for the next decade. In this conversation, we are going to uncover the number one white food that is silently sabotaging your mind, and more importantly, we are going to walk through the exact steps and delicious alternatives you can use to fight back. We are talking about protecting your independence and your identity. Before we dive deep into the science and the solutions, if you care about staying healthy, sharp, and independent well into your golden years, consider subscribing to our channel and turning on notifications. We share the kind of senior health tips that doctors often don't have time to explain during a 15-minute appointment. And let me ask you a quick question. Are you watching this from the United States, the UK, Canada, Australia, or somewhere else entirely? Drop a comment below with where you are from. I am always curious to see how far our community of proactive seniors reaches, and it is wonderful to see us all coming together to support one another. Let's get right into it. When we talk about white foods, you might immediately think of potatoes or onions or cauliflower. Those are actually quite good for you. The white food we need to talk about is the ultra-processed refined carbohydrate. Specifically, we are talking about refined sugar and refined white flour. This duo is the silent assassin of the hippocampus. You see, the hippocampus is a small seahorse-shaped structure deep inside your brain. It is responsible for learning and memory. It is like the save button on your computer. If the hippocampus shrinks or malfunctions, you can experience new things, but you cannot save them as memories. Now, why does this specific white food attack this specific part of the brain? It comes down to something called inflammation and insulin resistance. When you eat highly refined white foods, think of that morning bagel, the white toast with jam, the donut, or even that bowl of white rice. Your body breaks it down into glucose almost instantly. It is like injecting pure energy into your bloodstream. Your blood sugar spikes dramatically. In response, your pancreas pumps out insulin to mop up that sugar and get it into your cells for energy. That is a normal process. However, when you have been doing this for 60 years, and when the spikes are too high and too frequent, your cells stop listening to the insulin. They slam the door shut. This is called insulin resistance. Here is the scary part. Your brain is a massive consumer of energy. It uses about 20% of your body's total energy. When your brain cells become insulin resistant, they cannot get the fuel they need. They literally begin to starve. Dr. William Lee and other researchers have pointed out that Alzheimer's disease is now being referred to by many neuroscientists as type 3 diabetes because it is fundamentally an issue of how the brain processes energy. When those neurons in the hippocampus don't get fuel, they wither and die. And that is when the shrinking happens. Let's break this down into the specific items you encounter daily so you know exactly what to look out for. The first and perhaps most dangerous offender is liquid sugar. This often comes in the form of clear, white syrups or additives in drinks. Think about the sweet tea, the soda, or even that healthy fruit juice that has had all the fiber stripped out of it. When you drink sugar, it bypasses your body's fullness signals. You don't feel full, so you keep consuming. This causes the most rapid spike in blood sugar possible. There was a study that showed that people with consistently high blood sugar levels, even if they weren't fully diabetic yet, had a significantly smaller hippocampus than those with normal sugar levels. Imagine that. Every sugary sip could be chipping away at your memory bank. It is not just the obvious sweets, though. This is where it gets tricky. Let's talk about the staff of life, bread. For centuries, bread was a fermented, whole grain staple. But modern white bread is a different beast entirely. It has been stripped of its bran and germ, which contain all the fiber and nutrients. What is left is pure starch. When you eat a slice of soft white sandwich bread, your body converts it to sugar almost as fast as if you ate a spoonful of table sugar. It is sticky too. Think about how white bread turns into a gooey paste in your mouth. That same gumming up effect is happening metabolically. It contributes to something called glycation. Glycation is a process where excess sugar in your blood binds to proteins and fats in your body. It creates harmful molecules appropriately called AGEs, advanced glycation end products. Think of it like rust on a car or the crust on a creme brulee. It stiffens your tissues. When this happens in the brain, it stiffens the blood vessels and damages the delicate neurons. It restricts blood flow. And if there is one thing Dr. Lee emphasizes, it is the importance of healthy blood vessels, angiogenesis, to feed your organs. If your brain's blood supply is compromised by this rusting from sugar and refined flour, your memory doesn't stand a chance. Let's move on to another hidden source that catches so many seniors off guard. It is the low-fat trap. For decades, we were told to eat low-fat everything, low-fat yogurt, low-fat cookies, low-fat dressings. But here is the secret they didn't tell you. When food manufacturers take the fat out of food, it tastes like cardboard. So to make it palatable, they dump in huge amounts of refined white sugar or high fructose corn syrup. So you might be sitting there eating your low-fat vanilla yogurt, thinking you are doing something great for your heart, but you are actually bombarding your brain with the very substance that shrinks it. It is truly ironic, isn't it? We try so hard to follow the rules we were taught in the 80s and 90s, only to find out that those rules might be part of the problem. I know it can feel overwhelming, almost like everything is bad for you, but please don't feel discouraged. Knowledge is power. Now that you know that refined white flour and sugar are the enemies of your hippocampus, you have the power to kick them out of your diet. And the best part is, the alternatives are not only healthier, they are delicious. Let's talk about what you should be eating instead. We want to focus on foods that fight inflammation, improve blood flow to the brain, and stimulate the production of something called BDNF. That stands for brain-derived neurotrophic factor. You can think of BDNF as miracle grow for your brain. It helps grow new neurons and repair old ones. The first swap we need to make is moving from white to slow. Instead of white bread, look for dense, heavy breads like pumpernickel or true sourdough. Sourdough is fermented, which means the bacteria have already eaten some of the sugar for you and it is much gentler on your blood sugar. Or swap that white rice for quinoa, barley, or even cauliflower rice. These options are packed with fiber. Fiber is your best friend here. It creates a mesh in your intestines that slows down the absorption of sugar, preventing those dangerous spikes that kill brain cells. But we can go further than just swapping carbs. Dr. Lee talks extensively about eating to beat disease, and one of the most powerful categories of food for your brain is anything purple. Yes, purple. Purple foods contain a specific antioxidant called anthocyanin. You can find this in blueberries, blackberries, purple potatoes, and even purple cabbage. Let me paint a picture for you. Imagine the blood vessels in your brain as a complex highway system delivering oxygen and nutrients. Over time, that highway can get potholes or become blocked. Anthocyanins, those purple pigments, act like a road crew. They help repair the lining of your blood vessels and keep them flexible. There have been studies specifically on older adults showing that those who consumed the equivalent of a cup of blueberries a day showed improved memory recall and faster cognitive processing speeds. It is almost like upgrading the processor in your computer. So next time you are at the store, walk past the white bread and head straight to the produce section. If it stains your fingers purple, it is probably saving your brain. Now, let's talk about fats. Since we are cutting out the sugary white foods, we need to replace that energy with something else. Your brain is actually made up of mostly fat, about 60% of it. It needs high quality fat to maintain the insulation around your neurons, which allows signals to travel fast. If you don't eat enough good fat, your brain literally dries out. The hero here is omega-3 fatty acids. You find these in fatty fish like salmon, mackerel, and sardines, and in plant sources like walnuts and flax seeds. Think of omega-3 seconds as the oil in your car engine. If the oil is dirty or low, the engine grinds and overheats. If the oil is clean and high quality, the engine hums. Including walnuts in your breakfast or having salmon twice a week reduces inflammation in the brain. It counters the damage done by years of sugar consumption. Plus, walnuts are actually shaped like a human brain maybe. That is nature giving us a hint. I want to pause here for a moment because I know this is a lot of information to take in. We have talked about the dangers of white sugar and flour, the mechanism of insulin resistance, and the power of purple foods and healthy fats. If you are finding these tips useful so far, please give this video a thumbs up. It really helps spread the word to other seniors who might be struggling with memory issues and looking for answers. And if you haven't yet, do subscribe for more little-known health insights. We are just getting started on this list, and the next few tips are going to focus on drinks and lifestyle habits that act as a shield for your memory. Okay, let's get back to it. We have covered food, but what about what you drink? We mentioned that sugary soda is a disaster for your brain. So, what should you be sipping on? The answer is green tea. Green tea is a powerhouse for the aging brain. It contains a compound called EGCG, which is a potent antioxidant. But more importantly, it contains an amino acid called L-theanine. L-theanine has a calming effect on the brain without making you drowsy. It creates a state of relaxed alertness. Dr. Lee often highlights how green tea can cut off the blood supply to cancer cells, but it also helps grow healthy blood vessels in the brain. It is protective. In Japan, where they have some of the highest rates of centenarians, people living over 100 green tea is a daily ritual. It is not just a drink, it is medicine. If you are a coffee drinker, don't worry, coffee is good too. It is rich in polyphenols. The key is what you put in it. If you take your coffee with 3 spoons of sugar and chemical creamer, you have turned a health drink into a white food hazard. Try to learn to enjoy it black or with a splash of real heavy cream or almond milk. Now, I want to address a very specific additive that often sneaks into the diet of seniors who are trying to be healthy. Artificial sweeteners. When people hear that sugar shrinks the brain, they often switch to diet sodas or those little packets of yellow, blue, or pink powder. They think 0 calories, 0 problem. Unfortunately, that is not the case. Emerging research suggests that artificial sweeteners can disrupt your gut microbiome. You might wonder what your gut has to do with your memory. Well, the vagus nerve connects your gut directly to your brain. They are constantly talking to each other. If you wipe out the good bacteria in your gut with chemicals, you disrupt the production of neurotransmitters like serotonin and dopamine, which are made in the gut but used by the brain. A confused gut leads to a fogged brain. Plus, when you taste something sweet but no calories arrive, your brain gets confused and often craves even more real sugar later. It is a trap. The best strategy is to retrain your palate to enjoy natural sweetness, like a ripe strawberry or a piece of dark chocolate. Speaking of dark chocolate, this is one of my favorite tips to share because it feels like an indulgence. High quality dark chocolate, we are talking 70% cocoa or higher, is a brain superfood. It contains flavonols that increase blood flow to the hippocampus. It is the exact opposite of what white chocolate or milk chocolate does. Milk chocolate is mostly sugar and milk powder. It is a white food in disguise, but dark chocolate is serious medicine. A small square after dinner can satisfy your sweet tooth while actually helping you remember where you put your glasses. We have focused a lot on what to put in your mouth, but there is another critical factor in shrinking the hippocampus that we cannot ignore, and it works hand in hand with diet. That factor is movement. I am not talking about running marathons. I am talking about walking. When you walk, your muscles release proteins that travel to the brain and trigger the production of that BDNF we talked about earlier. Think of it this way. Our ancestors had to move to find food. So our brains evolved to go into learning mode when we are in motion. We need to remember where the food is so the brain sharpens up. When we sit on the couch all day eating processed white foods, the brain thinks, well, we are not doing anything important, so I don't need to waste energy keeping these memory circuits alive. It creates a pruning effect. By simply walking for 30 minutes a day, you are telling your brain, I am still active, I am still hunting for experiences, keep my memory sharp. It is the most powerful prescription you can write for yourself. And here is something that often surprises people. The timing of when you eat matters just as much as what you eat. Dr. Lee and many others are big proponents of giving your body a rest. This is often called time-restricted eating or intermittent fasting. It sounds fancy, but it is really just closing the kitchen after dinner. If you eat a bowl of ice cream or sugary cereal at 10 p.m., you are spiking your insulin right before you sleep. When you sleep, your brain has a janitorial service called the glymphatic system. It opens up and washes away the plaque and toxins that built up during the day, including the amyloid plaques associated with Alzheimer's. But here's the kicker. This cleaning system works best when your insulin is low. If you go to bed with high blood sugar from a late night white food snack, the janitors cannot do their job. The trash builds up. Over years, that trash turns into the tangles and plaques of dementia. So, a simple rule to save your hippocampus is to stop eating 3 hours before bed. Let your brain clean itself. I know we have covered a list of things to avoid and things to add, but I want to address the emotional side of this too. Food is more than just fuel. It is connection. It is birthday cakes. It is Sunday morning pancakes with the grandkids. It is comfort. The idea of giving up these white foods can feel like giving up a part of your joy. I want to reassure you that you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to never eat a slice of cake again. The goal is not perfection. The goal is protection. If you eat healthy, brain-boosting foods 90% of the time, if you fill your plate with colorful veggies, healthy fats, and clean proteins, your body can handle the occasional slice of birthday cake. The problem arises when the exception becomes the rule. When breakfast is toast, lunch is a sandwich, and dinner is pasta, you are hammering your brain with sugar all day long. We want to flip that ratio. Make the white foods the rare treat, not the daily staple. Let's try to summarize what we have learned so far, because I want you to walk away with a clear plan. We have identified the villain: refined white foods like sugar and flour that spike insulin, cause inflammation, and starve the hippocampus. We have identified the accomplices: artificial sweeteners and sedentary lifestyles. And we have identified the heroes: purple foods rich in anthocyanins, omega-3 fatty acids from fish and nuts, green tea, dark chocolate, and the power of movement and fasting. It sounds like a complete lifestyle overhaul, but you can start with just one thing. Maybe tomorrow morning, instead of toast, you have eggs with spinach. Or maybe you swap your afternoon soda for a glass of iced green tea. Small hinges swing big doors. Each time you make that better choice, imagine your hippocampus getting a little bit plumper, a little bit stronger. Imagine the connections between your neurons lighting up like a city at night. There is a story I like to share about a man named Robert. Robert was 68, and he was terrified. He had started forgetting names, losing his train of thought mid-sentence, and feeling a general brain fog that wouldn't lift. He went to his doctor, convinced it was the start of Alzheimer's. His doctor ran tests and found his blood sugar was borderline diabetic, a classic case of the preconditions for brain shrinkage. Robert decided to take action. He cut out the bread basket at dinner. He stopped putting sugar in his coffee. He started walking every morning. It wasn't easy at first. He missed his donuts, but after about 3 weeks, he noticed something. He woke up feeling clear-headed. He could remember his grocery list without writing it down. 6 months later, he felt sharper than he had in a decade. His senior moments virtually disappeared. Robert proved that your biology is not your destiny. You can turn the ship around. I want you to be the next Robert. It might feel a bit unsettling to learn that the foods you have loved for years have been hurting you. It is natural to feel a bit of regret, thinking, I wish I had known this 20 years ago. But please, don't dwell on that. Your body is a forgiving machine. It is always trying to heal. As soon as you stop pouring fuel on the fire, as soon as you stop the sugar spikes, the healing begins. Your body wants to be healthy. It just needs you to get out of its way. And remember, this isn't just about memory. When you cut out these inflammatory white foods, you will likely notice other benefits too. Your joints might ache less because inflammation is going down system-wide. You might have more energy in the afternoon because you are off the blood sugar roller coaster. You might even lose a few pounds of stubborn belly fat. But the biggest prize is keeping you intact. It is ensuring that you are there to tell your stories, to share your wisdom, and to recognize the faces of the people you love. Let's recap the action plan simply. Number 1, purge the pantry. Look at labels. If the first ingredient is enriched wheat flour or sugar or high fructose corn syrup, think twice. Number 2, embrace the colors. Try to eat something purple, green, or red at every meal. Number 3, move your body. A daily walk is a daily dose of brain medicine. Number 4, close the kitchen early. Give your brain the night shift off so it can clean up. It is a simple formula, but it is powerful. You are fighting against the culture that pushes cheap, convenient, processed food at every corner. But you are smarter than that. You now have the knowledge to make better choices. I want to leave you with a thought that I hope sticks with you. Getting older is a privilege. Not everyone gets to reach 60, 70, or 80. But growing older does not have to mean growing weaker or more forgetful. We used to think the brain was like a block of concrete that once it was formed, it couldn't change. Now we know it is more like a garden. If you don't water it, and if you let the weeds, the sugar, and inflammation take over, it will wither. But if you tend to it, if you give it the right soil and nutrients, it can bloom until the very end. You have the tools now. You know what the white food is, and you know how to shrink-proof your hippocampus. The power is in your hands, or rather, it is on your fork. Every meal is a vote for the kind of future you want to have. A future where you are alert, engaged, and fully present. I know getting older is hard. The aches, the fear of losing mobility, the changing world, it can be scary and discouraging. But you are not alone in this, and it is not too late to turn things around. Every small step you take, every better food you choose, every good habit you build is strengthening your mind and your future freedom. One meal, one step at a time, you are taking charge of your health. You are stronger than you think. Now, I would love to hear from you. Which of these tips surprised you the most? Was it the bread, the artificial sweeteners, or do you have a personal experience with changing your diet and seeing your mental clarity improve? Share your story or any questions in the comments below. I read every single one, and we all learn from each other. Your experience might be the exact encouragement someone else needs to read today. What change are you going to make after watching this? Let us know in the comments. Your plan might inspire someone else here. If you are still with me and determined to stay strong and protect your brain, type a 1-inch the comments to affirm it. And if you disagree or have doubts, you can type 0. I appreciate all feedback. Your voice matters here. If this video helped you or opened your eyes even a little, please hit the like button. It really means a lot and helps us reach more people. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss out on important health insights that could improve your life. We have plenty more science-backed tips for thriving in your golden years because your health and independence are worth fighting for. Stay strong, stay healthy, and remember your memories are your most precious treasure, so let's protect them. Keep taking those small steps for your health. They add up to giant strides in your freedom. I will see you in the next video.